of the most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and a massive warm welcome to this, the Racehour Weekend Preview Show. I'm your host, Tom Lee, and with thanks to our sponsors, they are Betfred and Gambling.com, I'm here with three of the very best brains, the elite in the business, to chew the fat over Saturday's TV racing action. Without further ado, the three amigos spearheaded number one in the ring for this weekend's racing, a man who's on pretty good terms with himself right now, Leeds fan, top of the pile. Come on in, Lee Hayes.
Morning, Tom. Top of the league in football, but not in internet connection based on that last few minutes. Looking forward to a big 6-pointer against Sunderland on Monday. I'm looking forward to some fantastic racing this weekend at Haydock, Wincanton and Ascot.
Ain't that the truth? And to help us on our way, broadcasting royalty, no less. She is Tanya Stevenson.
Yeah, thanks very much, Tom. I echo what Lee says, but I found that the cards, all the racing is very, very tricky, but enjoyable to all the same. And it's a little bit unnerving because it isn't the words Haydock heavy this week. So you've got to do a little bit different at Haydock.
Well, for a tricky Saturday, we need the big hitters. We've got Lee, we've got Tanya. We've also got the hitman himself, Gary Connolly.
Yeah, how's it going, Tom? The Valentine's weekend, so it does hit some wallets very hard, so hopefully you can find a few winners to ease the pain come this weekend.
Well, do you know what we're going to do? Sports report style, we're going round the race courses, kicking off 136 Wincanton, one of my favourite races of the entire season. The Grade 2 Kingwell, over just shy of 2 miles. Betfred Road against the ace mare Golden Ace. She's receiving a few pounds. Which way does this heavyweight bout go, Lee Hayes?
One of your favourite races, you won it last year, didn't you, Nameen Lion? And he was actually in the entries but not declared, I see. So it leaves a field of 4, probably down to 2 in my opinion. No 8-year-old or older winner has won it since 2014. Golden Ace is obviously that form beating Brighter Days Ahead looks fantastic now, doesn't it? But she's had 2 poor runs, I'd say, both as favourite since. I think she's probably an out-and-out 2-miler, so this track will suit her. This speedy track will suit her. Trader's not in great form, though, so I'm going to swerve her, and I'm going to have to go with a favourite. I hate doing it, but Betfred Road looks very ground versatile. He's only had 5 hurdle runs. Might be easy to forget with all his flat runs, but he's only had 5 hurdle runs. He's won 3, placed in 1. The one he didn't place in, he came 3rd behind Constitution Hill and Lossiemouth in the Kempton Christmas Hurdle. And the other one that he didn't win, he got beat by Sergino. So he's only been beat by 3 horses, Constitution Hill, Lossiemouth and Sergino. He's not going to face anything like that today. So despite giving away the weight to Golden Ace, I think this 111 rated flat horse will win. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to tip him at 4-6. Not a bet for me, but I do think he's a solid favourite to put into your multiples.
Yes, indeed. One would imagine that fast, speedy, right-handed circuit at Wincanton will very much suit the ever-improving 5-year-old Betfred Road. Tanya Stevenson, I think you and I maybe, whisper it quietly, qualify in the veterans category. That's what we're going to serve you up first with the 205. I said we'll go around the courses. Well, we're transferring a long way to the northwest, Haydock Park. 3 TV races for them. Big crowd anticipated in Newton-le-Willows. The Vets Handicap Chase, over 2 miles and 4 furlongs. First up for you.
Yeah, it's a really tricky race. We've got a rerun of a market race in here with Nocte Balates in the race with the Flyer Begley, who's really heavily gambled that day at market race and obliged. And also in the contest was the Edgar Wallace, who likes to lead up. We've also got Whistle in the Dark, Dubai Days, and Eton Kalina. Now you've got to sort of merge them all together. The worry with Dubai Days, who will like the ground, it's going to be good to soft at worst, unless they get a sprinkling of rain. He got into the final last year, Dubai Days, and just couldn't get to Numitor, but that's a good enough line of form. I will have to take that out. I won't consider it because, unfortunately, trainer's out of form. One winner from his last 17, Nick Alexander, and you thought in a recent Ayr and Newcastle meeting he'd have been right there in the winner's enclosure. He wasn't. Whistle in the Dark ran brilliantly last week against Lamilos, but that is the problem. Last week, that was a tough enough race, really, really tough. Got got close and is on a lovely mark whistle in the dark once again, but never run at Haydock, which might be a problem. Eating Kalina, loves Witherby, but you know that more than me, Tom. And this is a sensible sort of manoeuvre to come and take on the three that went to market race. And I sense the Edgar Wallace will go out in front, but will the Edgar Wallace be taken on that way? I mean, whose turn is it this time? It's a horrible, horrible race to take on. I will go with Tom Lacey's Charge, which is obviously not Belate. Tried to get near the Flyer Begley last time. This is a different proposition. Haydock is much tougher to get round, and Not Belate will be suited. Toby McCain-Mitchell on board. I'm going with Tom Lacey to reverse the form with the Flyer Begley.
As we are recording right now, 3-1 current market leader with our show sponsors, Betfred and Nocte Volatis for Tanya. Sticking with the Haydock theme, 240. They're going to need the staying boots on here. 3.5 miles a furlong for the Grade 2 Rendlesham Gary, for which the likely hot pot is the Long Walk. Third, an impressive, improving young horse, Beauport.
Yeah, I thought it was a trappy enough race. I'd be dead against Beauport. I think that form isn't great, and he's using this as a stepping stone for the Nationals. So I'd be strongly against him at the prices. Came down on Botox has. I think he's going to repeat last year's victory. He's been brought to the boil. I think his last race at Cheltenham in the Cleve, big return to form there. Travelled well into the race and then just got outstayed by two better horses. But these shallower waters, I think, will make life easier from his form at Haydock's. Brilliant. His career best performance was probably in this last year. Prime for this. I think this is the target all season from stable, coming into a bit of form as well. So I think he'd be tough beat here.
I was going to say the Moors are to be feared, irrespective of whether on their local track Brighton in a 5-furlong sprint or running in a race in excess of 3 miles in the northwest with a few hurdles in the way. They literally can and do train anything. That family, brilliant elite sporting family. The Moors, sticking with Haydock Park. Lee, back to you, because the usually attritional Grand National trial, slightly different feel to it this year, because of course the ground is much quicker than we might anticipate traditionally for the middle of February. How's that going to affect the Grand National trial? And at 3:15 at Haydock, what's going to win?
Good to soft at the minute. I think there's a little bit of rain around more than they were expecting. It might soften up a little bit, but you were saying you walked it yesterday, I think, and said it was even maybe good in places. So that's very unusual for Haydock generally, isn't it? And for this race. Most of these are entered in the Grand National. Some probably won't get in. Some will probably need a big win to get in. A massively open race. 5-1 co-favourites of 3. Another one at 11-2. Another one at 7-1. So wide open. And rightly so. I think anything could win this. Royal Pagaille, it's never won on anything quicker than soft. Although obviously it's got a fantastic record at Haydock. Yeah, man won it last year, and you've got to respect Gavin Cromwell when he brings one over to the UK. Apple Away could be dangerously handicapped especially on quicker ground. And I've got to give a mention to Gitmaker, a good friend of mine, a fellow Leeds fan, Ian Meeks, in that syndicate. Cracking form, second in the Kingwell, third in the Scottish Grand National, but it probably wants it a lot softer than this, and this might just be something to get it ready for another crack at the Kingwell or maybe the Midlands National. So I'm looking for something at a bigger price. I've come up with 2 each way, if you'll allow me to, Tom, after me.
Yeah, absolutely. Fire away.
After my odds-on favourite in the last. Famous Bridge is my first one. It's about 15-2 with Betfred, 9s in places. It has won on good and good to soft, so the quicker ground shouldn't be a problem. But if it does go soft, it's got a good record on that as well. All its wins are left-handed. It's 2 wins and a place out of 4 runs at Haydock. Nicky Richards has got a 23% strike rate at Haydock in the last 5 years. And it's got cheek pieces on for the first time as this horse. And when Nicky Richards put cheek pieces on his horses for the first time, he's got a 22% win, 56% place strike rate in the last 2 years. On a slight concern, it's £2 out of the handicap, but a lot of horses are out of the handicap in this race. So my first one is Famous Bridge, 15-2, 9s in places. And probably stronger, actually, Fontaine Collonge. It has again won on good to soft, but it'll be fine if it's soft. It's 2 out of 3 at Haydock. Pulled up last time out in the Welsh National, but it lost a shoe then, so we can forgive that. Its course win in November, it beat Monbeg Genius by 12 lengths, getting £4. And obviously that went fourth in the Welsh National and then won really impressively last time out. Fontaine Collonges was 140 that day. It's 147 today, but it's got a good £3 coming off with Ned Fox, who Venetia Williams does trust with some of these big rides. Trainers informed, she's informed as Venetia 20% strike rate last 30 days. But the creme de la creme, the pièce de la résistance here is 2 years ago, Venetia won this race with a horse that was a 10-year-old, French-bred mare even, that came in it off the back of a win and then a pulled up in the Welsh Grand National. So the exact same profile. That was Quick Wave and it won at 18-1. This horse is currently 16-1 with our sponsors Betfred. So I'm going to put my main each way bet on Fontaine Collonges at 16s.
Oh, I really like that because look at Fontaine Collonges' more broader profile as well. Form figures, 1-9, 1p. So winning, disappointing, maybe winning again, 3:15 Saturday afternoon, 16-1 each way. Great stuff, Lee Hayes. Indulge me, if you will, folks, friends, listeners, viewers, sponsors, whoever you may be, because think back to when you were a child. You went to the seaside, you purchased a sticker rock, you snapped it in half. It had a message written through the middle. The 115 at Ascot is a big field, 17 runners, nearly 3 miles, handicap hurdle. If you were to snap this race in half, I suspect probably written in block capitals through the middle of it, it would simply say, Tanya Stevenson.
Oh dear, well I used to get plenty of sticker rock because of course I used to live in Southend, so plenty of sticker rock around there, Tom, but it's a tricky little contest, isn't it?
It really is. This Bective Abbey,
or is it?
We've barely seen the creature, and yet it's going to be a raging favourite, the early markets would suggest. Yeah. Go figure.
Had Joyeuse not hosed up last week, what price, I wonder, would have Bective Abbey been this week? I think the extra few points, shaved off of Bective Abbey, and we've seen only one run, that was December 2023, were easily beaten, but mind you, by Stable Companion. Lucky Place was 46 lengths behind that, and then the only other time we've seen this was at Warwick, when winning, it says by 2 lengths, and it could have won by a lot further, but when you look at Bective Abbey, needs a chase fence already, but that was a maiden hurdle. You just don't know what it's beaten. So put that one to one side and take it as read that potentially, because you just don't know what the horse is, you just have to include it in your selections. Now, only 2 of the last 10 favourites have won. Also in that decade, we've had some old-timers win this race, a couple of 11-year-olds, so bear that in mind, that nothing's off limits here. 3 of the winners have been ridden by conditionals, and also big weights aren't a problem. So they're all worth taking in mind. This is a horror of a race. You're running over 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs. Some of these haven't even broached anywhere near it. Otherwise, it's a race where you're running for the hills. Otherwise, if Gilla Joan had run anywhere something near it, you would have been mightily impressed by its run at Uttoxeter last time out. But then at the same time, what did it beat at Uttoxeter last time out? Might have been absolutely nothing, and has gone up quite a bit. I then had a scratch around look for Pinnacle Pete, who has run some quite random good races if you go back far enough, but then I don't want to go back too far. I want to recent form. So it left me the only horse that I felt might be value against Bective Abbey, although I will pick out Bective Abbey. But if you want an alternative, you're allowed 2. I'm going all the way down to number 16, which is Ithaca, who has continued to defy going up in the handicap, has been quite a revelation. Took forever at Market Raisin to get stoked up, and then got to the last fence, and then suddenly come on the bridle, and then just coasted into 3rd place. You got to remember in that race as well, the winner, Belvedere Blast, was ridden by a £10 conditional. The second, Stay If You Want Me, was ridden by a £7 conditional. So, in fact, they were carrying featherweights. He's been brilliant, Ithaca, this season. 7 runs. He has been placed at 28, placed at 33s, placed at 10, and he's won at 10 to 1 and won at 22. So that just shows you how far he's gone up the handicap, and nothing is a problem.
And sorry to talk
And
over you,
add
Tanya.
to that-
Just to say, Ithaca, our sponsors, Betfred, certainly on their website, 5 places for each way bets, currently
Excellent.
20 to 1.
That'll do, Tom. Excellent, because you've got a chance, because he needs to be stoked up, continue a run on into a place at least. He stays. Some of the others, you're questioning whether they stay or not. Ithaca will stay.
For a young trainer
There he
making a name
goes.
for himself in the game, Ryan Potter, could that be a headline Saturday winner live on the box? Ithaca, each way for Tanya, 20 to 1, 5 places. Moving swiftly on, Gary, we haven't heard a lot from you. We're about to, because the Grade 2 Reynolds Novices Chase, good staying test this over 3 miles, part 2 of what already looks quite a spicy rivalry, the renewal of Jinko Blue against Lowry's Bar. What's going to happen on this occasion?
Yeah, a tiny little clash again, isn't it? At the price, I'm just going to go with Lowry's Bar to overcome that Windsor form. I think Jinko is a bit short, has a £5 swing in the weights. And to be honest, I don't think Lowry's Bar was out of it. I think that race was in the balance when he made an absolute Horlicks trio. Thought he'd done very well to get back into it and challenge the favourite. He's unexposed at this trip. I think there's a lot of potential in him coming up to this 3 mile. I think there's a lot more to come from him. And just at the prices, getting 15 to 8 him, 6 to 5 to Jol, with the weight swing, it's Lowry's Bar for me.
Lowry's Bar and Micheal Nolan riding really well at present for Philip Hobbs and his team. When we size up the Racehour weekend preview show, I tend to get hold of the list of races and send them out to our pundits, unless there's a bit of an intervention and one of them pipes up and says, I'd particularly like to talk about a race. Trade secret, email midweek, Lee Hayes. I especially want the opportunity to talk about the 225 at Ascot, what is effectively a 0 to 137 handicap hurdle over just a smidgen further than 2 miles and 3 furlongs. Why is that, Lee Hayes?
I do love a handicap hurdle, Tom. They're the races I like to get stuck into more than anything, and I think keeping records on my bets, that's where I tend to do best. So this is a trappy little 14-runner handicap hurdle. I think Altabelli's a pretty good favourite at 4 to 1, 2 out of 2 over the distance. It's best 2 racing post ratings as well in those 2 races. It's won and placed twice out of 3 runs at Ascot. Trainer's in good form and he's got a good record at the track. So I think he's a good favourite. But only 1 top weight's won this actual race in the last 11 run-ins. And the winner's been rated somewhere between 123 and 133 in the last 5 years and in 9 of the last 11. So I'm looking for something a bit less exposed and in that kind of range. And when I look through a race, I don't look at the odds until I've made my selection. And I thought that this horse was going to be the favourite. It's Nicky Henderson's La Pinsonnière. It's an ex-French mare. It was third in a 3-year-old Grade 3 in France, actually. It was bought for €151,000. They must have had to go that extra 1 to get her. She's had 2 good runs in the UK. First time out behind a subsequent winner who's now rated 129 on her debut. And then second, she was left in front, probably didn't want to be there by a faller quite early on. Thought she jumped really well. She actually got headed, battled back gamely, and actually won going away. That was over 2 miles. She's up in trip, but all her runs in France was about this distance. And a dam actually won over 2 mile 2 and 2 mile 3. So I think she probably wants, taking all that into account, I think she probably wants this extra trip. Nicky Henderson's got a 20% strike rate when he puts his horse into a handicap for the first time. And you can increase that to 30% if it's a first-time handicap at Ascot. So as I said, I thought this would be favourite. And actually, she's 14 to 1, 4 places with our sponsors Betfred. And you can get a little bit of 16s. So my bet goes with La Pinsonnière for Nicky Henderson.
La Pinsonnière, which, if my GCSE French serves me well, is some sort of birdhouse. But you will be in the anything but the doghouse if she wins, 14 to 1 each way. Lovely stuff, Lee. Brilliant stats and research as well in there. 3 o'clock Ascot, Tanya. Another teaser for you is this Swinley handicap chase. 3 miles the journey, loads of plausible alternatives.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of after you, sir. No, after you. After you. I'm going to hold back. After you. Because I'm only saying that because of the likes of Hasthing, Teresita, Snipe. If you look down the list, many of these have to be held up, especially if you take into account Hasthing's run at Windsor last time. Victorino, another one, of course, that has to be held up and no doubt is towards the head of the market for this contest. And after the win here last time that took forever and a day to get past the changing man, but it was a canny ride by Charlie Deutsch, will be looking to do the same again. So the key to this race, while they're worrying about who's holding back the furthest, because I should think Hasthing will be right out the back until the last minute. But the problem for that one is the fluency of his jumping. He's no doubt about the enormous potential and continued improvement that's going to come. But I think he was overly sort of cheered last time because they omitted a fence at a crucial moment and they just went off too fast. And the way that he finished strongly was accentuated by that Hasthing. That's not to say that it isn't a very good improving sort, but he's got really stiff obstacles and he's got to, they're going to play cat and mouse with Victorino. It's a rerun of 2024, of which Harry Cobden is probably rubbing his hands together thinking, this is handy. I've got a whole bunch of hold-up horses behind me. I've already beaten Victorino in this last year. The ratings were virtually the same. 3 under through 5 was 152 and Victorino was 146 and Victorino was 4 3/4 lengths behind. So it's very hard to think that reversal of form is going to happen. Obviously, if Mr. Nichols was in flying form, it'd be a different scenario. 3 under through 5 is a huge price. He will lead here, Harry. And he might lead and really slow it down at points, which means the best place to be when you do that sort of thing is out in front, because when you ask the likes of Hasthing, Teresita, another one, she's brilliant. She's flying up the weight. Snipe, I thought, was well and truly beaten anyway at Donny last time. Obviously, we were all on Snipe after he came second to Val Dancer at Carlisle, and then Val Dancer won the Welsh National. We think, oh, where's Snipe next? And he went to Donny and he was beaten come the last, albeit running on. There's another one. So it's a kind of cat and mouse game by Harry. I'm going to go for 3 under through 5, out in front, out of any trouble, and setting the pace and doing what he did best last year, just dominating the race and hopefully coming home again. He carried 12 stone last year. He can carry 12 stone again. And wouldn't it be just ironic, a week where Mr. Nichols has been under the spotlight, I sense he's going to have a very good day tomorrow. A very good day.
3 under 3/5 in a contest in which our sponsors are a 50 odds, 4 places for any each way bets. Gary, back to you for this Grade 1 Ascot Chase, which is the crown jewel in a very strong card, 2 miles and 5 furlongs. What caught my eye was the arrival across the Irish Sea of a certain Mark Walsh to ride Corbett's Cross for Emmett Mullins. Let's not forget, Mark Walsh is not a man who wastes his air miles, and notably he did come over for this race 3 years ago and win it on Fakir Dudaries. Could it be the same again, a Walsh winner, or are you shopping elsewhere?
No, Walsh winner. I think it's very telling that Emmett Mullins is sending him over here this close to Cheltenham, 2 trips in a month up to the UK. That's reason enough to be backing him. I just think out of the whole field, he's probably the one that we haven't seen the best of him. We know we have on all the other runners. This fella, this season has been a bit of a mixed bag, but he's been geared for one race in mind, and I think he should be straight enough to go. The fact that travelling, I reckon they're here to win. Like, he probably has a tag of being a slow horse because he won the national hunt. He's not. This boy has plenty of pace. Like, if you look back at his hurdles forms, he was beating Arkle runner-ups over 2 miles. So step down trip, no bother for me. One I'd be dead against is La Press. I think the step down trip, huge negative for me. He needed every yard of the trip in the Cotswold Chase, and he's probably back going the other way around. Fab has picked Dory. This is probably his Gold Cup, but I just think he could be on the slide. He's 10 years old now. His last run wouldn't scream. He's improving any sort of way. But Corbett's Cross for me, I think. Fact, as you said, Mark Walsh doesn't waste the air miles. He's here to win. They're going to set him up nicely for the Gold Cup. I think at the Gold Cup, he could be a dark one. Wins here, goes there with a cracking chance, I think. So strong fancy Corbett's Cross to beat this.
Corbett's Cross currently 9-4. Let's not forget he is an 8-year-old taking on horses who maybe, just maybe, are starting to get a bit long in the tooth. The likes of Pic D'Orhy, the likes of Long Press, the likes of Blue Lord, all of them now officially double figure age into the veteran bracket. Are they as good as they were? Are they vulnerable to the younger legs? We're going to find out. Currently 9-4 with our show sponsors. Betfred is Corbett's Cross for Gary. Folks, it has reached that time again where you've made some very strong arguments. One senses that Tanya, busting out a few dance moves in the corner of my screen, has got some pretty good ammunition for you to be walking away with a weekend nap. However, he's top of the league in the championship. Is he top of the tree in the tipping stable? Lee Hayes, you are up first with your weekend nap here on the Racehour weekend preview. Shoot.
Yeah, top of the table in the league. My form's been terrible on this last few times I've been on, but I'm hoping to bounce back. Nap obviously means nice at price. It doesn't mean the one that's got the best chance of winning. I think Burdett Road should win, but I can't be napping something at 4-6. So I'm going to swing for the fences. 14-1, 225 Ascot, Lapin Sonnier.
Lapin Sonnier, the ex-French trained mare in that 225 each way. That's the way we like it. Tanya, once more with feeling, what are we saying? What's your best bet this Saturday afternoon? It's a great Saturday afternoon's racing.
It's a great Saturday. I just want to flag up the fact that obviously look out for the 350 at Haydock. We've got a great contest there. The likes of Moon Rocket turn up for that. My Drogo will be running in the 425 at Haydock as well. Will Biddick on board. Remember My Drogo? However, that all said and done, brilliant cards, or as we've mentioned already. I'm going to go for something I like my golfers to be. 3 under through 5. Not going to be doing that at the Genesis Invitational because it seems very, very hard. But Scheffler's up there. Scottish Scheffler's up there. But 3 under through 5 was the winner of the 3 o'clock at Ascot 12 months ago. And I should think he'll be going very close. And as Lee said, it's about the price. And the price for me seems double figures, seems top value. Could even think of each way. But 3 under through 5 to try and make all in that Swinley Chase at Ascot.
Well, if those two win, love will be in the air for punters as they wear out the carpet en route to the payout kiosk. And love is in the air on Valentine's Day. I'm sure for this man, Gary Connolly, whatever you've got up your sleeve for your significant other, I'm sure you could only bolster those feelings of romance with a weekend winner. What is it?
Yeah, I'm going to pop over this side of the RSC for me. Red Mills Day at Goran, 2:30. Crescent Moon, I'm going to be putting up. She's been put in at 5-1 for the one book that's priced her up. She's second in a bumper. First time out, shot a bit of promise. Hasn't been overly busy on maiden hurdles. A run behind Cupbeck the Boards in that red hot Leopardstown maiden. She was thrown in on a handicap there at Cork last month. Some would say eye catcher. Others, like myself, will say she was not off a yard and still came second. She's got a small rise for it. She's in here off bottom weight. The Connor Stone Walsh takes off the extra 5. Once they have the handbrake off, this thing will take some stopping. 5-1 is a banging price. This wins. Pays for my Valentine's expenses and everyone's happy.
Yeah, busy weekend for the Gavin Cromwell team. Have they got one up their sleeve there? Goran Park, 2:30 Crescent Moon for Gary. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Thank you as always to you at home for tuning in. Thank you to our ace pundits, to Lee, to Tanya, to Gary. Don't forget, you can follow us on X at the _Racehour. But as ever, good luck and enjoy the afternoon's racing on Saturday. We'll be back in the same place this time next week. We'll see you then. Over and out.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounding Cordan Star into submission.